Hi everyone, my name is Tanya Elizabeth Arrow and I'm a change agent at Growthitude. We help organizations with culture change and with branding to create a sustainable, lasting legacy. So I've just arrived out from a forum where I was speaker at United Nations Development Program, and we spoke on the topic of mental health and also how to thrive post-COVID-19. And we thought it would be valuable for you to share the exact same presentation we had there. And also, if you have any questions after this, and if you want to know, the results from the poll that we did in the presentation, please send us an email at chat@growthitude.com. So, when we had the government shut down borders and countries, we were all going through the change curve of shock and disbelief, denial, frustration, anger. Can they really be doing this? Is this really happening? Our business changed overnight. We had to reinvent how we were doing business. We had to reinvent how we were going about our lives. Our daily lives weren't as they were just the day before. And we had to do things differently. We had to juggle having kids at home, not being at school, not being at daycare, and also working and being in back-to-back meetings, trying to innovate and to figure out what is going on. And we're still not past that. We have more information and we're still in a place of uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen in a year, and we don't know how it's going to look in 5 years from now. What we do know are some certain things, what we can do to be as well as we can be in this environment. We also know that governments globally make sure that people are taken care of, because what we've seen is an increase in depression, an increase in anxiety, an increase in insomnia, an increase in all these mental health issue related diseases and symptoms. So we need to make sure that people are taken well care of, but also this is a presentation where we actually put focus on what can we do in our everyday lives and work situations to be as good as we can. So I would like to just ask you, as you are going through these moments with me, to think about where are you at when it comes to virtual meeting fatigue. Have you felt it, really felt it, or are you like, okay, I'm over the worst part of it? Or would you like to know more? Then please email us again. And so just tap into how are you feeling at this moment, and I'll share with you some tips and tricks on how you can touch base with others as well, and how you can make sure that your team and others around you are feeling well. So let's dive into it. First of all, you need to, it's like when you hear about the, on the plane, we get the idea or the message that we need to put on our oxygen mask first before we help others. And it's the same here. We need to take care of ourselves first. We need to focus on our health. We need to focus on getting enough sleep and good sleep. We need to focus on, drinking water, eating healthily at regular times during the day. And we need to focus on what can we do to keep our routine as much as possible, because changes, we're all uncomfortable with it. So how can we keep our routine as much as possible and really make sure that we get the most out of every day? Maybe we could change the coffee with a water glass. Could we, at any given meal, what could you be eating that is a little bit giving you a little bit more energy? And also take breaks between the meetings. I will get into more details on that, but make sure to not have, for instance, back-to-back meetings. Is not going to do you any good. How can you look after other individuals, either loved one or people at work? Well, ask them, how are they feeling today? It might be something different than how they felt just a day ago. It might be that they feel both frustrated and curious, and that's absolutely fine. And do it without judgment. So Professor Brené Brown, she has done a lot of research on courage and also a lot of work on how to thrive. And what she says she does with her team is to have a 2-word check-in. So they get to say 2 words without any judgment. And it's okay to feel, mixed emotions. And also we need to get to a place where there's no stigma about mental health and how people feel, but really it's okay to share information. What we see is governments use a lot of money on physical symptoms and physical illnesses, but not as much on mental health issues. And we need to change that. We also need to make sure that we are doing what we can. For instance, what can you do? How can you maybe pick up the phone, call someone today that are having a challenging time now? They might have been a lot of alone in these past months. So what can you do today? Also, what can you do to look after your team and your organization? And these are best practices from companies such as Google and other global companies. One is to have walking one-to-one meetings. Can you, for instance, swap the sit at desk one-to-one meeting with having a walk? There are sound silencers, so you can have, so you don't hear the barking dog or you don't hear the car. So you can actually have meetings whilst walking about in nature or walking about around in your neighborhood. And then daily 15-minute stand-ups. If there's too much with daily, maybe weekly, where people get to share how they're feeling and also share what's going on, what's their daily, focus now. And virtual offsites or Friday lunches, keep them, do them still. I've, clients who've told me that they do puzzles or they do quizzes, and that's great, and do that together and keep that, because we need that human connection. We need to not only speak about what's in the Excel sheet or, the follow-up on the client or the follow-up on interest in the public. We need to also be human and connect the water dispenser or the coffee machine conversations we had previously that we don't have now because we're all sitting in our own home, or maybe you have gone to the workplace, but there's not so many people there. We need to keep these connections still going. And the fourth thing is, as a leader, enabling people to actually book you in the calendar without you actually having to go through the notion of when am I available, etc. So make a slot bi-weekly in your calendar where your teammates can book you. They don't need a reason, they can just book you and you can have a conversation on whatever topic they need to have a conversation on. And as a previous colleague of mine in Google said, if you have to really work hard on making a meeting engaging, would it be a possibility to think, do we really need to have this meeting, or do we need to have everyone we have invited into this meeting? I have clients who have said, my problem is that people book me into meetings and I'm in back-to-back meetings. Do we really need to have all the people that are in the meeting, or could we give people a Slack and that they get the information from the meeting, and we have the transparency, and we have the sharing of information, and they can get the transcript from the meeting. They don't necessarily need to be in the meeting. And what can you do to create engaging meetings? I was recently last week I held a keynote at a client's office, and they had a summer conference, and they really had, a great engaging summer conference. And people said up front, 4 hours is going to be long, but then after they were like 4 hours, it didn't seem like long. What they did was they did have breaks in the longer meeting. It was 4 hours. They did also have, everyone had shared pictures from their summer holiday. So they made a reel of that with music. They had an interview from a client that was sharing their journey with the products that the organization had. They also had interview with the CEO. They had my keynote. So it wasn't all death by PowerPoint, as you say, but it was a really engaging and mixed conference. So these are some tips that you can do to make it engaging. So to sum up, make sure that you stay focused on your daily routine, get up at the same time, have your daily routine, keep healthy, then have scheduled breaks between the meetings you have, so that you can make sure to recharge and get your brain to the focus of the next meeting. And if you have longer meetings, schedule breaks in the meetings, because we're not used to sitting and staring at the screen for 4 hours. When we were in physical meetings, we would sit and watch outside the window to just reflect on what was said in the meeting. But if we do that in a virtual meeting, we're regarded as, rude, and it's regarded as rude. So schedule breaks so that people can, still be human in the longer meeting. And then have shorter meetings. Do we need to have 60 minutes? Maybe we can do it with 25 minutes and have 25 minutes instead of 30 minutes, or 50 minutes instead of 60 minutes. This is a way of ensuring that you actually get a break between the meetings, and it's a natural one. So as before, we would go through, the office to go from one meeting room to the other, or we would change floors. And now we're just clicking on a link. So to have that break that we would have before, scheduled break between meetings. And I've spoken to clients that, I've given the example of have a virtual meeting-free day a week, and also enable and allow people to have a day a week that is meeting-free. We know that it can take time to create these changes. So, make sure that you talk to your team, you talk to the department, you talk to the organization, and you get everyone on the same side, as to either you say, I'm going to have a virtual meeting-free day, and please respect this day. It might be that they still book you in. It will take time to create that change where they respect that day, or you can actually get to have everyone have a virtual meeting-free day, and I'm sure your colleagues will really appreciate that. And lastly, schedule technology breaks. We're not created to be online all the time. We need variety. We need to have different things happening. So schedule technology breaks where you actually have the weekends technology free, or you can actually do a phone call instead of being in front of the screen all the time. So I hope these tips were helpful for you, and please make sure to send us an email if you have any questions or any concerns, or if you just want to chat. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I appreciate your time, and I would love to have a chat if you would like to. Have a great day. Thank you.